Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Creative Lucia and today we are going to be tackling everything about brand presentation. So have you been one of those people in the past that find it hard to design a brand presentation for your client? Well, you are in luck today because that is what we are going to be doing and we are going to treat it from beginning till the end. Meanwhile, if you don't have the strength to go through the hassle of designing a brand presentation all by yourself, well, I've got good news for you. You can check the link in my description to an already made template which I have made just for you, and you can customize it however you want. So when you are designing your brand presentation, you can use whatever software you want, but for me I am using Adobe Illustrator and I am going to teach you how to do it on Adobe Illustrator. So you might ask, what is a brand presentation? So simply put, brand presentation is the visual representation of a brand's mission, vision, and its values. Also, it's where you find the creative direction behind the designer does for its client. So a brand presentation contains certain things that make it up. So we are going to be discussing one of it. For the first one, we have the cover page. So the cover page is just where you write the brand presentation, the name of the company, and if there are other information that you want to include, you can also include maybe the starting date of the design and the ending date of the design and the company and whatever information that you want to add. For the second page, we have the welcome page. The welcome page is basically where you welcome the people that you are designing for and it explain what the brand is all about. Then for the third page, you have the table of contents. So for the table of contents, you list out everything that is going to be in the brand presentation in the table of contents. So after the table of contents, we have the brand overview. In the brand overview, simply you are talking about what the brand entails. So for us that designed a brand that is in the financial sector, so this place is where we'll be talking about everything about the brand, what they stand for and what distinguishes them from their competitors. So for the next one, we have the brand's mission. So this is where you discuss everything about the brand's mission and what they aim to impact in the people or in the line or sector that they are working in. So we have the brand mission, the vision, and the values. And based on what you have discussed with them during the brand call or during a strategy session, that is where you get the information that you're going to use for the mission, vision, and value, because they must have already told you these things about their company. So for the next one, we have the creative direction. So the creative direction, simply put, is the process you follow to do the design. So most designers, they gathered inspiration for their design. So these inspirations can be gotten from Pinterest, Behance, Dribble. So this simply means getting pictures or designs, other designers design that inspires your process. So you are simply getting these ideas together and putting them together to form a mood board, and this mood board is going to influence the direction you are going to follow for your design. So after the creative direction and everything, we have the primary logo. So this is basically where you put your primary logo and you discuss how you came about that logo and what influenced the decision for the primary logo. So the primary logo is basically what you use in your online, for the clients, it is what they use in their online presence, their printing, and any other way they want to represent their brand, online or offline. So after the primary logo, we have the logo rationale. So the logo rationale is the idea behind the logo, what inspired the logo, what does the logo entail. That is what you basically put in this page. So after the logo rationale, we have the secondary logo and you discuss all about the secondary logo. Now we use the secondary logo in places where the primary logo cannot fit. It can be online and it can be offline. It can be in your website, it can be in your printing material. So wherever the primary logo does not fit, the secondary logo will do the work. So for the next one, we have the logo construction. So you can also include the construction of the logo and how you were able to come about the logo, the elements that make up the logo. That is what is basically in the logo construction. The favicon is the icon of the logo that you've designed. So this favicon can be used in the app, in the mobile apps. These are the icons that you're going to be using in the mobile apps, and they appear in Play Store and the iOS store. So after that, we have the brand palette. Now, during the process of the creative direction, you must have picked colors that inspired the direction of design you want to follow. So these are the things that make up the color palette. So in the color palette, you can talk about the color and what inspired the color. Okay, let's say for this financial app that we are using the color blue, and the reason why we are using the color blue is because of what it represents, and blue represents trust, calmness, and it's usually used by the people in the financial industry to instill a sense of trust in their clients. You see, these are the things that you can discuss in the brand palette or color palette part of the brand presentation. And also you can include the hex code, you can include the Pantone color, the Pantone code, sorry. You can also include the name of the color and every other information that needs to be in the brand color or brand palette. After that, you can also have the shades and tints of the color. There are some clients that don't want it, but if your clients want it, you can as well include it for them. So for the next one, we have the brand typography. So whenever you are doing a design for a client, you know that you're going to pick a set of typeface that they are going to use for their branding, for their business. So it can either be one, two, or at least one or two typefaces. So it can be serifs and sans serifs combined together, however you want to. It depends on you, the designer. So you discuss the idea behind the use of the typography and why you chose the typography for the company. Also, you can show them how the typography can be used in a design. That's the font uses and why it stands out for them. The brand elements simply consists of the brand texture, brand patterns, or other brand assets like the illustrations that they might want to use in their socials. That is if they want to use illustrations. So these are the things that you can include in this section. Then for the last but not the least, we have the brand application. This is where you show the real life representation of the logo. So you can do mock-ups as many as you can to show them how the logo looks in real life representation. That is going to give them an idea of how to use the logo when they eventually start implementing it in their brand. So we are going to hop onto Illustrator while I show you how to design the brand presentation from scratch. To start our design, we are going to be creating a 920 by 1080 pixels, and then we make sure that we put 30 artboards on the number of artboards that we need, and then you click on create. So here we have 30 artboards that we're going to use for our design. So the first thing we are going to create is our cover page, and to create a cover page we are going to create a rectangle. You can either draw the rectangle or just go to the height and width of the rectangle, and then you type 1920 by 1080. It is going to fit in to the artboard that we already have, or you have to be careful with adjusting it so that one part is not shorter than the other, because if it's shorter, when you export it, you'll be seeing white at the edge of your designs. So after you've created your artboard, we're going to be importing our color palette and our logo that we're going to be working with. So let's do that now. So after we've imported our brand color and our logo marks, the next thing we are going to do is we're going to design the cover. And to design the cover, we're going to draw a rectangle 1920 by 1080. So after creating this rectangle, we are going to create the guide. Now this guide, when we create it, we are going to make sure that everything that we are designing is going to be within that guide and not outside of that guide. And in order to create it, you click on your rectangle and then you create another 1080, so you create another 1920 by 1080 pixels, and then you subtract 120 from the width and the height. Subtracting it, you make sure that you are not using the fill, or you're using the stroke. So after changing it to the stroke, you copy it and then you go to object, path, split into grid, and then make sure your preview is on so that you can see what you are doing. We are going to use 6 rows by 30 gota, and then you click OK, and then you paste the other rectangle that we copied by pressing Ctrl or Command F for it to be on the front, and then you go back to object, path, split into grid, and then we are going to create a 12 column with 30 rows, and then you click OK. We've created both our rows and our columns, and the next thing you are going to do is to highlight it all, and then you group it. Right after grouping it, we are going to paste it on all of the other artboards because that is what we are going to be using as our guide. So that is what we are going to do now. So after we have finished creating all of our guides, the next thing to do is to highlight all of the guides and convert it and make sure that we change it into a real guide. So what we are going to do is after highlighting all of the guides, we click on Control or Command 5 to convert it into a guide. So this guide is what we are going to use for our design. You can also hide or review this guide by clicking on Control or Command, then semicolon, and then review, and then you can review and hide it using this shortcut. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to design our cover proper. So to design it, we are going to be typing brand presentation, and then we're going to change it to white because we can't use black on that. Then this is where our brand guide comes into play. So we click the Control or Command semicolon in order to reveal our guide, and then you can use the guide to monitor where you can place your text. So for me, this is where I want to place my text on the beginning line of this brand guide. That is where I want to place my brand presentation. So after we've typed our brand presentation, we can add every other thing. You can add the brand logo. Let's add the brand logo to the left. So let's do that. So as you can see, we can't see the brand logo because it is behind. In order to bring it to the front, what you are going to do is open bracket, shift control right, open bracket, and it is going to appear to the front. And if you want to take it to the back, you do the same thing, shift control the left bracket. So we've brought it to the front and we're going to adjust it, and then make sure that it is also within our guide. Then the next thing we can do is we can type the name of the brand, our brand payee. Make sure that we change it to white, and we are going to use point size 36, or no, it's too tiny. Let's use 72. 72 is okay. So let's make sure that it's within the guide. If this is too small, you can just reduce it. If it's too big, you can reduce it. And then the next thing, we are going to, just like I said in the beginning video, for the cover page, you can add the starting point of the design. You can add the name of the designer, which is you, and you can also add the name of the people that you are designing the brand for. So these are the things that can be at the front, at the cover of the design. So now we've pasted it so now we've what I want to be in the brand cover, on the brand cover, and we are good to go. So this, just like I said, this is how I want to design mine. You can design yours however you want to design it. It all depends on our individual creativity. So for the next one, we are going to design our welcome page. So we are going to design the welcome page. So for the welcome page, for me, I used lorem ipsum text, dummy text. But when you are designing your own, you are going to customize it to suit the brand that you are designing for. So let's say it's payee, so you just type, this is a brand presentation for payee, and it is going to guide us in the presentation of the brand, and so it depends on you on what you want to add here. So for the next one, this is our table of content, and it contains the brand overview, where you will find the about, mission, vision, and the values, the creative direction. And for the creative direction, that's where we have our mood board, our logo, the logo construction, primary logo, secondary logo, and the favicon. And then for the brand palette, we have the primary colors and then the shades and tints of the brand. So for the brand typography, we have the typefaces that are going to be used for the brand, and we also have the font uses. That is how the font is going to be applied in the design, in the brand designing the brand. And then we have the brand applications, which is a real life representation of everything that we've created. So for the next part, we are going to have the brand overview. Forgot to mention, we are going to be using this brand cover, but we're going to be pasting it along as we go ahead in the design. So for this is for the brand overview, and for the brand overview, we're going to be talking about the brand and everything that the brand entails. So this is basically about the brand, but I did not write about the brand. I used the Lorem Ipsum text because it's not a real brand. So for you, you can use you can talk about the brand just like I said before, and everything about the brand. So the next we have the brand mission. So this brand mission, just like I said before, these are things that you would have already discussed with your clients: the brand mission, the vision, and the value during your strategy session, or when you send them your questionnaire, the brand questionnaire or the logo questionnaire. They would have answered all these questions. So these are the things that is going to make up your brand mission, vision, and values. So we are going to put all that in. So for the next one, we have the creative direction. So for the creative direction, we are concentrating on, first of all, the mood board, just like I said in the beginning of the video. So we are focusing on the mood board and generating inspiration, things that inspire our design. So to get the way I did this grid, simply going to draw a rectangle. Then we are going to go to object, path, split into grid, and we are going to make sure that our preview is also that we can see what we are doing. And we are going to use 3 rows. We are going to use 3 rows by 3 columns. So that is what we are going to do. And we're going to use 12 pixels gutter for each of them. Sorry, 3, not 4. So after doing that, you click OK, and this is how we came about this grid. So after getting the grid, you can now put each of those images in it. To put the images, I'm going to show you how I clip maxed the images into each of the boxes. So let's say we want to put this image inside this box. What we can do is make sure that the rectangle that we are putting the image into is at the front. In Illustrator, you don't clip mask with the image at the front. You clip mask with the rectangle you are clip masking it to at the front. So you simply put them together, highlight the two, right click, and then make clipping mask, and it will come to the front. So for the next one, we are going to be designing, or we are going to be placing the logo. So after the creative direction, we are placing our primary logo, and we are talking about everything about the primary logo. After the primary logo, we are designing the rationale behind the primary logo. When you are designing your brand presentation, this is how you go about it, and you're almost halfway into the design. So adding your logo rationale, the next thing will be to talk about the secondary logo. So just like I said initially, the secondary logo is the logo that you use where the primary logo does not fit. So you just simply, what you do here, you just simply copy the format of the primary logo, and then you paste it, and then make the changes, change the logo, and then change the secondary logo to the primary logo to secondary logo, and then add your description to it. After that design is the logo construction. Okay, for the logo construction, I went into each of the marks to draw out the construction of the logo. So if you have not watched the video of where we designed this logo, click on this link to watch the video, because we are using everything that we designed in that video for this tutorial. So make sure that you watch it before you watch this video. So after the logo construction, we are going to add the favicon. The favicon, the next thing to work on is the brand color palette. So the brand color palette is basically the colors that the brand are going to adopt in their branding. So we are going to add the colors using the same templates that we have been using. So here we've added our primary colors that we're going to use for the brand, and also the shades and tints of the colors. So these colors are basically what is going to be used. So these colors are what is going to be used for the brand when designing for the brand like the website or the app, or also their social media designs too. So we are almost halfway done. So after the shades and things, the next thing to work on is the brand typography. So the brand typography is the typography that the brand will always use in all of their social media designs, their website designs, and all their printing and all the printing that they are going to do. So for this brand, we are using Gilma designed the brand typography and how the fonts are going to be used. So for the font uses, you are going to explain how the fonts are going to be used on every of their social media presence, their website or their printing. So for the heading for this brand, they are to use the bold and regular for their body text, and then for any external links or anything, it is going to be also on bold. Then after the brand typography, the next thing we're going to work on is the brand elements. And just like I said before, the brand elements are the texture, the patterns, and every other asset that you are creating for the company. So for this one, we are going to paste their pattern, their brand pattern, and we're also going to write on what inspired that pattern, why we are using that pattern, and how it reflects their company. Okay. So we have placed our brand pattern and also the brand grid. So this brand grid is what is going to be used in their designs. So if you can see that this particular grid, they can use it in their flyers and in their printing, and wherever it appears, it is going to appear in this format. So after the brand grid, the next is to design the brand applications, and this includes mockups, which is going to show the real life representation of the brand logo that we have designed. So we are going to paste the things we've worked on. After doing the mockups for the brands and showing how they are going to look in real life presentations, you then paste it inside the artboards that you have created. So here we have the merch design, the IG post, ATM card design, tote bag design, the water bottle, and the icon, and how it's going to look in an app, and also the cap design. At the end of the design, you can just use the last page to say thank you to them, and also include your name, the name of the designer, which is you, and also tell them that you are looking forward to receiving their corrections and their inputs in the design. That is all about designing a brand presentation. It is not hard, right? But then if you cannot go through the stress of designing it all on your own, you know what to do. There is a link in my description that will take you to get the template, and I'm giving it out at a discounted rate. Also, if you have not watched my last video, make sure you click on this link to watch the video before you watch this particular one, because it is going to help you to understand where we got each of the elements that we are using for this design. See you in my next video. Bye.